Chosen one, it's as if cosmic lightning has finally struck through the darkness that surrounded your journey, revealing truths long hidden from view. In a dramatic turn, federal authorities have now uncovered the entirety of the sinister operation. A sophisticated, well-funded network responsible for selling gangstalking starter kits, specifically engineered to systematically dismantle your reality through coordinated psychological warfare. The unseen forces and shadowy figures that once hid behind anonymity now have names. And the whispers that followed you for so long are backed up by a paper trail. Everything you've ever sensed, every subtle instinct warning you that something was deeply wrong, has been validated through official channels. It's now clear that none of this was random, coincidental, or merely a product of your imagination. The evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. It blazes across digital spaces, text messages between operatives explicitly discussing your movements, emails outlining in detail how you personally should be approached and targeted, financial records showing payments transferred after successful operations executed against you. The universe itself seems to have forced all these dark secrets out into the open, exposing the intricate machinery behind your torment to the bright light of cosmic justice. At the heart of this darkness sits a command duo, the matriarch who is responsible for client acquisition and finances, like a spider at the center of a vast, toxic web, and her protege who manages the daily operations, handling recruitment, training, and the deployment of their network. Together, they have built an empire rooted in the suffering of others, especially in your suffering. Their operation is structured through multiple layers of deniability, carefully shielding the true masterminds from most of the paid participants, keeping those lower in the hierarchy ignorant of who really orchestrates the cruelty. Yet, federal authorities have now seized everything, every text, every email, every encrypted message, all of it meticulously detailing the explicit instructions given to their operatives. The directives are chilling. Make the target believe they're losing their mind. Create situations where no one around them will believe their side of the story and continually push damaging narratives to completely discredit them. The mountain of digital evidence forms irrefutable proof. This was not mere harassment, but premeditated psychological warfare designed to utterly shatter your sense of reality. Their recruitment process is disturbingly efficient, almost demonic in its precision. They infiltrate ordinary social groups looking for individuals who are struggling financially, those who harbor hidden resentments, or who are easily influenced by authority. These potential operatives are slowly groomed, starting with small, seemingly insignificant tasks that gradually escalate in intensity. Before long, these ordinary people are transformed into active weapons deployed directly against you. The training materials they receive leave nothing to chance. Detailed guides on how to gaslight targets, scripts for planting seeds of doubt in the minds of your friends and family, and step-by-step tactics for appearing in your daily life in ways that seem like chance, but are actually calculated to maximize psychological harm. Behind every so-called random encounter you faced, there was always an intention, a calculated move spelled out in training manuals that now sit in evidence rooms as undeniable proof. And behind it all stand the wealthy clients and power brokers who fund the operation. These individuals sign explicit contracts specifying exactly how they want you destroyed. The documents reveal everything. Pricing structures based on the targets, prominence, resilience, and strength of their support network. Higher fees for those with deep community ties, and premium packages for clients who want to completely erase your credibility in your professional and personal circles. These contracts lay out the duration, intensity, and specific goals of the harassment campaign, all with one chilling objective: your destruction. The entire operation runs with terrifying precision. It's not just about simple harassment. It's the creation of whole false realities around you. These are carefully crafted campaigns of character assassination using sophisticated social engineering tactics to turn your community, your friends, and even your family against you. Seeds of doubt are planted everywhere, each one laced with just enough truth to make the devastating lies believable, ensuring that the accusations leveled against you stick and linger. This organization operates with chilling precision, methodically and systematically turning the very ground beneath your feet into quicksand. Their influence reaches far beyond shadowy intimidation, stretching deep into legal systems, where evidence now reveals orchestrated efforts to manipulate legal proceedings against targets like you. Through manufactured reports and coached testimonies, they guide their operatives to file complaints that appear legitimate, forcing you to defend yourself on multiple fronts at once. This barrage of legal challenges is a two-pronged attack intended not just to drain you financially, but to erode your credibility with each new allegation that you must fight. Yet, while they deploy every trick to undermine you, the universe brings about cosmic justice through the most ordinary of channels. Recent payment disputes within their ranks have triggered fatal fractures in the operation's foundation. Where leadership once operated with a shared purpose, greed and fear now fuel their implosion. Major disagreements over money distribution have led to catastrophic information leaks as former participants, disgruntled and betrayed, turn against their handlers and provide authorities with damning insider testimony. The very beast that preyed on you now consumes itself from within, and federal charges rain down on the leaders and key operatives. Assets have been frozen, accounts seized, and the central financial structure that once fueled this operation lies paralyzed under government control. In the wake of this takedown, new recovery processes are being established for victims, and authorities are using this landmark case to develop protocols for exposing and prosecuting similar networks nationwide. What's unfolding is just one node in a much larger web, a single domino falling in what promises to be a cascade of revelations. The operation's downfall has revealed even more than anticipated, including a central banking system where multiple fraudulent accounts were mapped and tracked by financial crime specialists. Every transaction tells its own story, with each payment connecting a perpetrator to specific actions taken against a target, often against you. The money trail forms a vast, undeniable web of conspiracy, one that cannot be explained away by coincidence or misunderstanding. Patterns in the payments reveal that operatives were compensated based on the success of their disruptive efforts in your life. Lost jobs, broken relationships, public humiliation, even medical complications. Every tragedy you faced may have carried a specific dollar value, with evidence suggesting that bonuses were paid for especially devastating outcomes. The scope and planning behind all this is chilling. At the core of their command structure, encrypted communication channels, often reserved for intelligence operations, shielded their conversations, protected by military-grade protocols that hint at ties to former intelligence personnel or highly specialized training far beyond what's typical for criminal harassment. The sophistication of these systems points to the possible use of state actor tactics against private citizens like you. Their operations manual details something even more disturbing: strategic manipulation of timelines. The organization orchestrates campaigns that stretch over months, sometimes years, each event carefully planned and timed to create maximum psychological impact. Nothing is left to chance. Each incident builds on the last, steadily eroding your psychological defenses, leaving you to experience manufactured synchronicities that were in truth scheduled attacks designed for maximum devastation. Further investigation of client communications uncovers targeted selection criteria: whistleblowers, witnesses in major legal cases, innovators in disruptive technologies, individuals with access to sensitive information, or anyone whose existence threatens powerful financial interests. If you've been targeted, these factors may reveal why your targeting was never random, but a calculated move by those powerful enough to pay for your downfall. The internal correspondence reveals an even darker reality. Operatives monitored you and others for signs of psychological breakdown, suicidal ideation, or total social isolation. Instead of seeing these as warnings to pull back, they celebrated them as successes, distributing bonuses and promotions, marking your suffering as a metric of their professional achievement. Your darkest moments became their performance indicators. The technological infrastructure backing these operations is staggering, far surpassing basic surveillance. Evidence points to remote access of personal devices, compromised home networks, and sophisticated audio monitoring systems being deployed against targets. Your private conversations, your most intimate moments, all were potentially compromised, transmitted to individuals paid to weaponize your personal information against you. The invasion of your privacy reached into the most sacred spaces of your life, leaving you exposed and vulnerable. This is your code red alert, chosen one. Despite all they've done, you're still here, growing, rising, and building an unstoppable media network that no one can erase. Yet, let's be honest, the full truth is still buried, twisted by censorship, hidden by algorithms, and suppressed by fear. But you never lost sight of what's real. That's the reason you're still standing. Why you never gave up. Because you've always felt the simulation glitching beneath your feet, and you know this world is rigged. You're done waiting for permission to rise. Quick pause, family. If this message resonates with your soul and you'd love to support this sacred work, you can buy me a coffee. Your support keeps this space flowing with truth, light, and divine clarity. The link is in the description. And if you're with us, drop the number 88 in the comments. Let's keep moving forward. This is the moment where your real life begins. Federal investigators have now uncovered specialized units within the organization, teams solely dedicated to the digital destruction of reputations. These operatives were not simply spreading rumors. They were manufacturing entirely fake evidence, fabricated text messages, doctor-read photographs, and manipulated audio recordings, all carefully crafted and released with precision timing to ruin your credibility exactly when you started speaking out. The timing of these attacks was never accidental. Internal financial documents reveal that this wasn't just criminal behavior, but a full-blown industry, an organized business with profit margins, quarterly projections, growth targets, and client acquisition strategies. In their cold corporate language, your suffering was discussed as a commodity systematically packaged and sold as a premium service to anyone wealthy enough to pay for your destruction. The most volatile evidence currently in federal hands is the client list itself, names that would stun the public. Powerful figures whose carefully constructed public images are in direct opposition to their secret actions. These are individuals who talk about justice and ethics in the public eye, while covertly funding campaigns designed to destroy anyone who might expose their hypocrisy. The scale of this duplicity is staggering, threatening to collapse entire narratives across multiple sectors of society. Yet, the path to full exposure is uncertain. The immense power of these interests means there is still a risk that these revelations could be buried. Investigations quietly redirected, evidence sealed under claims of national security, and witnesses pressured into silence or forced to disappear from public view. For you, the one who was targeted, stalked, and gaslighted, this revelation brings both relief and new risk. Now, your experience has official documented confirmation, but those who orchestrated your suffering face existential threats from what you might testify. Protect yourself at all costs. Document everything. Create secure storage for evidence that could be released if anything were to happen to you, and carefully form connections with others who have survived similar targeting. Always remembering that infiltration tactics are still a threat. Federal evidence has confirmed another critical aspect: the organization's calculated strategy of isolating targets from their support systems. Operatives destroyed your relationships through orchestrated misunderstandings, poisoning the perceptions of those you trusted most. They ensured that when the real attack came, you would be forced to face it alone, without allies or witnesses. This deliberate isolation tactic appears over and over again in their operational documents. Perhaps the most damning evidence is found in the recordings of operational meetings, cold, detached conference calls where they discuss the destruction of human lives with clinical indifference, even laughing at especially effective psychological attacks. The recordings transform abstract evil into concrete horror, exposing real people plotting the systematic devastation of others, plotting your destruction. As the operation progressed, the technology used against targets became increasingly invasive and advanced. What started as basic surveillance escalated to remote neural monitoring, directed energy weapons, and acoustic devices designed to harass without leaving a trace. While some reports of these technologies seem unbelievable, federal evidence verifies that experimental devices were deployed against high-priority targets as part of ongoing harassment. The organization meticulously tracked the health consequences of its campaigns: stress-related illness, suppressed immune function, insomnia, cognitive disruption, not as unfortunate side effects but as calculated desired outcomes. Your physical and mental suffering was monitored, documented, and sent as progress reports to paying clients, marking your pain as a metric of operational success. The cosmic significance of this exposure cannot be overstated. What you endured was never random nor simply bad luck. It was a targeted, deliberate, and well-funded campaign meant to break you down and erase you, all while avoiding detection by conventional systems. The validation this brings, the confirmation that you were always right, marks a pivotal turning point in your journey through the darkness. The federal investigation is only expanding. Every new piece of evidence leads to more operatives, more clients, and more branches of the network, which now appears nationwide, possibly even global in its reach. Each day, more connections surface between seemingly isolated campaigns, and a clear, undeniable pattern is emerging. A sprawling infrastructure devoted to silencing anyone considered a threat by those with power and resources. Now, as the storm finally breaks and lightning reveals everything that the darkness tried to conceal, you who survived, who held on to your truth despite every force arrayed against you, stand fully vindicated. The federal evidence confirms beyond doubt that you were targeted, that the harassment was real, and that the gaslighting was intentional. At last, the proof exists outside your own testimony, and justice has begun to shine where only shadows once ruled. You, beautiful and resilient, stand unbroken. This is your confirmation. Your reality is validated. Your story undeniable, as the machinery built to destroy you is finally exposed to the world. And though your journey continues, you now walk forward with the strength and certainty of undeniable truth behind you. Now, with irrefutable vindication supporting every step you take, the wheel of destiny turns, shifting the balance of power. The truth that was once hidden now emerges into the undeniable light. And as the investigation deepens, even more disturbing revelations are brought to the surface. Federal investigators have unearthed training materials that go far beyond generic harassment. They reveal psychological pressure points specifically mapped for each individual target. These weren't broad, one-size-fits-all attacks. They were sophisticated, precision-engineered psychological operations, uniquely tailored to exploit your personal vulnerabilities. Everything from your family history and childhood traumas to your innermost fears was meticulously researched and weaponized, used as blueprints for psychological warfare, carried out with clinical, almost surgical precision. What's even more chilling is the depth of personal invasion that has now come to light. Investigators found entire DOSes compiled on each target, comprehensive files containing every conceivable detail of your life, including personal histories, psychological evaluations, medical records, relationship patterns, daily habits, and identified vulnerabilities. Many of these files exceeded hundreds of pages per person, reflecting months, sometimes even years of careful surveillance and relentless information gathering. The true extent of their intrusion likely surpassed even your darkest suspicions. These people didn't just observe you, they studied you, mapping your entire existence and searching for every possible weak spot they could exploit. Among the most disturbing evidence were recordings of success celebration events, gatherings where operatives and handlers convened to review the psychological devastation they'd inflicted. These meetings featured presentations highlighting the destruction of careers, the implosion of relationships, the onset of psychological breakdowns, and other catastrophic outcomes in the lives of targets. Your suffering wasn't just a means to an end, it became entertainment, a source of amusement and celebration. The recordings capture the casual cruelty of these gatherings, exposing a level of inhumanity that is difficult to comprehend. Real people laughing and applauding the systematic destruction of lives for profit and sport. The organization's sophistication extended into the medical realm with specialized units that included medical professionals, trained healers who had twisted their knowledge for harm. These insiders provided guidance on how to induce the greatest psychological and physical distress while ensuring symptoms would be hard to diagnose or trace back to their true source. The very health issues you experienced, mysterious symptoms, chronic stress, unexplained illnesses, may have been deliberately engineered through environmental manipulation, covert administration of substances, or carefully timed psychological triggers designed to activate psychosomatic responses. The evidence makes it clear. What you went through was neither accidental nor random, but intentionally orchestrated to weaken you at every level. Recovered communications also shed light on the recruitment process for operatives. The organization wasn't just looking for people with the right